Entitled, lazy, self-centered. These are some of the adjectives that we use to describe the young people, and especially when they come to the place of work. In part 2 of my interview with Kariuki, the CEO of Totally Sorted, we are going to take a trip down memory lane and see how her own life has shaped how and why she is so empathic towards these young people. Welcome to the Influential channel. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe. If you have been a follower of our content, thank you very much. Please continue being a part of our journey. Like, comment, and tell someone about it. Take a listen to this fantastic second part of my interview with Kariuki.
Growing up, I'd always wanted to be a doctor. That was my dream, and I was going for it.
Dr.
But in
Carol.
the teenage years, yes, I'd have been Dr. Carol, and I'm sure I'd have been amazing, and I'd have loved it.
I don't doubt it.
But in the fullness of my teenage years, I decided to rebel against my parents.
Okay.
Because my parents were putting pressure on me to be a doctor. And I forgot that that was also my dream. So I almost took it as their dream. Okay. And then I decided, I'm tired of your pressure. So I'm going to do the one thing that I know is going to ensure that I cannot be a doctor. So I dropped biology.
Oh my.
But now, having dropped biology, now I did not know what else I could do or wanted to do.
Yes.
Because that had always been my dream. So when I finished, when we were doing our university selections, our guidance then used to be select 2 or 3 professional courses and one quote unquote soft landing. So I remember I had chosen law, I'd chosen BCom, I'd chosen I think a BA and something else. So I got called to the university to do law. But I told my mom that I don't want to do law because I really didn't feel like that is something that was exciting me. Yes. And by then I had gotten a bit of exposure and I wanted to do interior design. But my mother refused flat out. For her idea was that if being an interior designer meant that I would be painting houses. And she said, you couldn't have gotten an A- to go and paint people's houses. I refuse.
Oh my.
And, we had a whole tussle because I gave her examples of successful interior designers. She gave me examples of failed ones. She brought elders to me and said, you're joking around with your life, get yourself together. And ultimately, she told me, if you want to do this, if you want to pursue it, you're on your own. And at 17, by then I was 17, I figured I don't think I can do this on my own. So I succumbed and I did law and I hated it. Every single minute of it.
I bet your students had that part and they were in shock.
Yeah, so I went through, having come from an A student, I went into university and I became a D student. My transcript is full of C's and D's. I avoided school as much as I could. I had a job. I worked in a casino throughout my university years. I pursued an accounting course. I worked in a security company. I did everything I could to run away from the law. Okay. So I barely scraped through with my degree, which of course people find very hard to believe, but yes.
It's hard to believe you are a student. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, but that was the reality of my university education. Wow. And even when I finished, at that point, I no longer knew what else I could do. So here I am with a law degree. And I did not have people I could speak to and ask, now what do I do? So what I did was follow, quote unquote, the regular path and just, move forward into a career in law.
Yes.
And again, I hated it. Every minute. In fact, at some point, I even suffered clinical depression for quite a while. Yes, yes, because here I am doing something I really dislike on a day-to-day basis. But still having the confusion of not knowing how do I get out, and if I get out, what do I do? My
Yes.
mom, by then my dad had passed on. My mom was based in the rural areas. I did not, of course, want to go back there.
Yeah.
I didn't want to live with relatives in the city.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed the money to survive on a day-to-day. So I resigned myself to simply, existing,
Mm-hmm.
earning my rent, and just, getting by. Yeah, so it was a dark time at that point. And if you go back to my brain, the progression of the brain,
Yes.
this is when the logical brain was now fully formed, because now I
Yes.
could see that
Mm.
I am not on the path I want to be on, but
Mm-hmm.
I've already invested 4 years in university. I've invested as a lawyer. You do 1 year of essentially an internship before you can be qualified. I worked
Yes.
for a year as a lawyer, but I know I'm not on the right path, but I don't know where
Mm-hmm.
to go.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty dark season for me.
Okay. Wow. 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 And there is a progression of you leaving the profession and pursuing, is it leadership and management and starting your own company? Did that happen in your 20s or in your 30s?
It happened. Happened in my 20s. Actually, it's my late 20s, I would say. Let me look at that. Actually, it happened exactly. I started my company just after I turned 30. So the thought process started in my late 20s, but then I started just after turning 30.
Okay. So it looks like this issue, and especially when you talk about the formation of the brain, it looks like there's a scientific explanation to why we could have this issue, and perhaps it's bigger than we even think it is. Because in my own life, as I was thinking about our interview, I realized that I had my own similar issues, and I was actually led a certain way by my parents, and like you, I was given an ultimatum: if you do this, you're on your own. And so I began my career kind of on the path that I didn't choose. And then along the way, I kind of, and I actually want to believe it's what you're saying there. When the logical part of my brain was fully developed, I realized I really dislike this. And I started finding a way to leave, and eventually I did leave. So that's very enlightening for me. Let's go back to your experience now as a coach, as a facilitator, as a trainer, and let's hear what you have observed with young people.
With the young.
Yes.
So I think in that area, if I was to think about my experience with the put it the age group of around between 24 and 30-ish.
Yes.
What I find there is, first of all, society has been very unfair to that age group.
Okay.
Because I feel that majority of people, when dealing with that age group, feel that these are immature people. These are people who are, too fast. They don't have patience. They want to move really quickly. They don't want to stick to the rules or the path that has been set out in organizations. And because of that, I feel that majority of organizations don't take this age group very seriously. Yeah. And they're relegated to glorified, clerks of whatever area it is that they're working in. I give you a task, and that is all I give you. So I'm not giving you responsibility. I'm not giving you authority. And yet there is so much potential at that level. They have fantastic ideas.
Yes.
These are people who are willing to take risks. They have not yet been boxed in. So they think differently. They have solutions that are, a little bit different. And I'll give you an example that I encountered. I once did a graduate recruitment training across the country. And I was traveling with this young man who was my assistant. And we got to one particular university where the logistics were terrible. They had forgotten we were coming. So they were not prepared for us.
Okay.
So they quickly put together an auditorium and said, okay, here you can use this auditorium. And because we're doing graduate recruitment, they're like, okay, they called their third year and fourth year students who are around and said, we have people who are looking for people to employ. So come. Then we walk into this auditorium and it's beautiful, but it's all wood paneling.
Okay.
There's no screen. And we have the organization that I was doing this for had a video that they needed to be played.
Okay.
And here we are looking at this beautiful wood paneled auditorium and wondering, where do we project?
Okay.
And this young man I was traveling with looked around and very quickly put together 2 tables. He flipped them over on the side and stacked them on the auditorium stage. And we had a screen.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. Wow. I mean, I was there thinking bed sheets. Can somebody look for bed sheets?
That must have been from those movies that the traveling movies of our heydays. Watoto Keti.
Yes.
Yeah, something like a bed sheet. Okay.
Yes. So, I mean, when you think about that, I mean, that is amazing thinking. And it just got me, I think for me, that was one of my experiences that sort of got me thinking, you know, we really do not take enough, we don't take seriously enough the ideas that come from that age group.
Yes.
And for me, that was a turning point, because I think if you think about Totally Sorted, my company, when you think about the people whom I work with and have worked with, they have always been very young, always been very young, and they deliver superbly. And at some point, I was doing a consultancy where I was working with lawyers, and you know, again, the reputation that lawyers have of being very stuffy and very scary. And here I am with 24 to 27-year-olds, and they were able to hold their own in the presence of people who have been running law firms for over 20 years. So I think we just don't give them sufficient opportunity. So I think that is one of my biggest realizations. The other realization I think that has come with that age group has been that that age group also struggles not just with career, but see, this is when relationships are coming in. You're meeting the person, you know, you're dating somebody who hopefully is going to be your wife or husband. You're interacting with friends who hopefully are going to work the journey of life together with you.
Yes.
You are involved in a community where you're beginning to feel that you want to give back. And all of these are clashing with, you know, you're still human, you only have the 24 hours.
Yes.
So here you are wondering, you know, should I go to school and further my education, or should I go out for a date with this person whom I want, you know, who's asking me out on a date so that perhaps we can see this forward? Or do I go for a weekend hangout with my friends because, you know, I want to develop that relationship? So you have all of these clashes and a lot of confusion around where's my priority. I want it all, but the reality is I can't do it all at the same time. So how do I then prioritize? So I find that is another struggle that they have. The third struggle that I have seen is financial, because at this age, you are quote unquote independent from your parents. You're expected to be, you know, sorting yourself out, you know, pay your rent, buy your food, you know, and, you know, send a little something my way every once in a while. But you're still very junior, so you're not earning too much. And you want to go out with your friends. So a lot of that age group I find also struggles with finances, how to manage it, how to grow it, what to do with what you have.
Wow. Do you feel, because when we were growing up, clearly there are a lot of parallels. We didn't have social media then. Do you feel like it has added to this pressure?